Hi, I'm Dal from Mohawk Games, and today in this video I'm going to take you through the steps to create a basic mod. But before we get into that, there's a couple of things you need to be aware of. This is what's called the mods folder. This is inside your Documents, My Games, Old World Mods folder. This is where the game stores all mods that you create or download. The other thing you need to be aware of is the reference files. The reference files are a copy of the actual game files themselves. It includes source code, as well as all the game info, which is XML files. These XML files are not actually part of the game. They are only supplied as a reference for you as a modder, so that you know what information is currently in the base game, so that you can then create your mods. So now we get onto creating our mod. If we go into the mods menu, you'll note that we start on the Manage Mods screen. To create a new mod, you go to the Upload tab and click New Mod. I'm just going to call this Test Mod and confirm. What this does is it creates a new folder called Test Mod in your Mods folder. It then creates a default mod info file. This mod info file is important because it contains all the information required by Old World to run your mod. We'll get into the details of it very shortly. On the mod screen, you will see that it also has the mod info here on the screen. This is the same as what's in that modinfo.xml file in your mod folder. You can set the mod name, the file name, choose a mod picture, description, change notes, mod version, your tag, and a home page if you wish. There are also some settings such as what type of mod it is, what mod tags you would like to have on your mod, and then you can also add dependencies and incompatibilities to your mod. Now these are the names of other mods that your mod either depends on, so must be installed, or incompatible with, so they won't work with your mod. So before we get to that, we are actually going to create our mod. So if I go to my mods folder, here it is here. To create an XML mod, you need to have infos. So we need to create a folder called infos with a capital I. This is where all the XML files that contain the game infos will go. I'm going to slide that over there. I am now going to bring up my reference folder. So the reference folder contains a copy of all the XML files from the base game. Now with this mod, what we are going to do is we are going to change the existing warrior's strength and make it stronger. And then we are going to create a new unit. So what we need first is a unit.xml. So I'm going to copy this across. So now the base game unit.xml is now in my mod. Now when we add XML files to our mod, we need to give it an ending to the file name. Now the ending that you give your file name depends on what the actual file is going to be doing. For instance, the first part of our mod is that we are going to change the existing warrior so that it is stronger. So we're going to make a change. However, the second part of the mod is that we are going to add a new unit based on a warrior. So we need to call this one add. In this way, the game knows that you are going to change an existing unit when it loads this file, and you are going to add a new unit when it loads this file. So now we are going to make our change to the existing warrior. So I open our unit change XML. Now what you see is that there is an XML header. That needs to remain. There is also a root tag. That needs to remain. The important information is contained in this child entry tag. This contains all the information to define a unit within Old World. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my warrior. Helps if I go down. So there is our unit warrior. But we don't need anything else except for this unit warrior. So I am going to delete all the other units within this file because we don't need them. Now, just so you're clear, when you make a mod and you're making a change, you don't need all the rest of the units because they are already existing within the base files. So when you load a game, it loads the base information first. It then loads any change information, and then it adds all your new units or files. Now, when we change a unit, we need to ensure we keep its type because that defines what we're looking for. And that's true for all the infos. There's type defines what element within the game you are going to change or add or affect. When you make a change, you only need to refer to the actual item that you're going to change. Now, since we're going to make our warrior stronger, we only need the strength. So we can remove everything else except for the type. So now we have our unit type because we want to change, which the file is, unit warrior, and we want to make its strength 80. So we're doubling the strength of our default warrior. Let's save that file. We have now made a unit change file. Now we're going to add a new unit based on the warrior. Again, I search for my warrior. Now, because I'm adding a new unit and I'm not affecting anything else from the base game, I can remove all the other entries except for the one I want to use as the base for the new unit. And here is the warrior, the base warrior, which I'm using as the default for my warrior. Except I'm not going to call him warrior. I'm going to call him unit stabby. Now there's lots of information that we can change in here. I'm actually going to leave him as the default 40 strength. So unit stabby will be the same as the default warrior, but the default warrior I've doubled in strength. Now I am going to change this here. The name refers to a text element which contains the name of our unit. So let's make text unit stabby. I'm going to leave it with the same icon, portrait, background, and everything else. The only thing I am going to do is I'm going to give it extra movement. I'm going to double the movement of this unit and make it 4. This means for every fatigue of 3 or the white pips, it can move 4. I'm going to save that. So now I have my change for the warrior to double its strength, and I have a new unit called Stabby, which has more movement, but the default strength of 40. Now I've actually created a new text element. So what I need to do now is come across here back to our reference. With the text files, you'll notice they are all text-something. When the game loads text elements, it just looks for any file that begins with text. So in our mod, I can create a new document and I can call it text-testmod.xml. Now it needs to be XML. Now because it begins with text, the game knows to load these text elements. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to open one of these and I'm going to take the default element. I'm going to add it to mine and include the end tag. And now, set up the elements I need. I don't need this line here. Now, if you remember, our text element is called text unit stabby. So if I copy that, I need to define the type of this text element as the same. So what happens is when the game reads in this new unit, it comes in and it goes, okay, this unit is called unit stabby. It has a name of text unit stabby. The game then looks up all the text elements and says, which is the type text unit stabby? So this is why we need to define type here as text unit stabby. They need to refer to the same. We are going to call this stabby men. Let's save that text file. And then we can come out. So to go back over it, what we have done is we've created a change file which takes our unit warrior type and changes the strength to 80. We have a unit add file which adds a new unit called unit stabby, which has a name of text unit stabby. We doubled its movement but left everything else the same as a default warrior. We also added a text file which contains our text unit stabby and stabby men as the name. So now that we have our mod, we can now come to Manage, Test Mod. You'll see our mod here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it on. Play with mods, single player. Following mods are active, test mod. I'm now going to pick a nation that starts with the warrior. And I'm going to start a game. Now that we are in the game, found my city. Oh, we found the Persians already. All right, let's have a look. Who do we have here? We have our warrior. The warrior now has a strength of 8, because if you remember, we made the strength 80. If we go into our help screen, Let's look up units. Come right down to the end because all new stuff gets added at the end. And there's our stabby men. Here's our stabby men with 4 movement, and all the rest is default like a warrior. So I can now come into my city. We can create a stabby men unit. I'm going to very quickly just go through 4 turns. Okay, we now have a stabby men unit. Here's our stabby men, and you can see it has 4 moves and 4 fatigue, because we're Rome, of course. So now you can see we can actually go further than the default warrior because we have extra moves. It also has a strength of 4, where the default warrior has the strength of 8. So we have our mod now successfully created. We are completely happy with our mod. So now that we have our mod done, I'm just going to turn it off. How can we actually upload it for people to play? So we go to our upload tab again. We have our name, we have our file name. Now, if we have a look at upload button, it says we need mod name, file name, which should automatically generate. We need a picture, a description, and an author. Okay. So we need a picture. I'm just going to grab an existing one I have from the Byzantine Empire. We need a description. This is a test mod created for the modding videos. Changelog notes. You can add changelog notes here. Now this will show on the actual specific change, plus also on Discord when it creates the mod bot information. It includes the change notes within that mod bot entry. So new mod for modding video. You can add a mod version. I'm just going to call this version 1. Author, I'm going to make Dale. You can include a homepage if you wish. https mohawkgames.com. Now, our mod. We can choose for it to be a single player or a multiplayer, or both. Translation is a special type of mod which translates all the text in a mod to a different language. We also have mod tags. So this is a unit. So what I'm going to do is, because the unit is part of the game info, I'm going to add the tag game info. Okay. It also affects nation units. So I'm going to turn on nation. Now my mod has no dependencies or incompatibilities, so I'm not going to worry about that. Now because I've made changes to mod info, I need to save local changes. This updates your mod info file. And if you remember, the mod info file is the most important file in your mod. So if I go to my mod info file, you can see that this information is copied from the actual screen. You can see I've got my tags, game info and nation, I have my homepage, my mod version. Now you'll notice other entries in here as well. For instance, mod build. Mod build stores the version of the game that your mod was saved with. So as you update it for future versions, this will also update automatically. This is useful for players because they can have a look at a mod and see whether it's going to work with their version of the game. Now, because I haven't uploaded my mod yet, I don't have a mod.io ID or a mod.io file ID. These will automatically populate once I upload my mod. So now that I have my information or my files, I have saved the local changes. I can now upload the mod to mod.io. Now, let's go across to mod.io and see what happened. So as you can see, we have our mod, but it says it's currently awaiting activation. There's no files associated with it yet. The first time you create a mod and upload it, it needs to create the profile first. So you need to upload it a second time for it to upload the files. For all future changes, you do not need to upload twice, only once. It is only the very first time you upload your mod that you need to do it twice. See, this time it said uploading build. When it is finished uploading, it tells you that it is finished uploading. It can take up to 15 minutes for it to be available to players to download. It's usually very quick though. So if I now refresh this page, you can now see I don't have the moderation banner and I have my file. So our mod is now live. So what I can do now, I can come across to install, scroll down the list, and here's our test mod. This is a test mod created for the modding videos. The mod is now available for players to download. Thank you for watching this video where I took you through the steps to create a basic mod and then upload it to mod.io available for players to play. I hope you learnt a very valuable lesson, and you need to remember the most important folder for a modder is the reference files. They contain all the XML from the base game and the mods, plus also the source code. Now this is all the Unity C# scripts. In the next video, I'll actually show you how to create a DLL mod using Harmony. Thank you, and see you in the next video.